Bangsaku, bangkan jiwa, bangunlah badanmu untuk
cited. Next agenda would like to show you the profile of Unsika.
Universitas Singaperbangsa Karawang atau disebut dengan Unsika didirikan pada tanggal 2 Februari pada tahun 1982. Berlokasi di Kabupaten Karawang, Provinsi Jawa Barat. Visi Unsika yaitu menjadikan perguruan tinggi yang inovatif, kompetitif, dan juga unggul. Unsika mengalami peralihan dari perguruan tinggi swasta menjadi perguruan tinggi negeri pada tahun 2014. Terdapat 9 fakultas dan juga 22 program sarjana, 3 program diploma, dan juga 3 program pasca sarjana. Unsika juga memiliki berbagai macam fasilitas di setiap fakultasnya. Tak hanya itu, Unsika juga memiliki misi untuk meningkatkan aksesibilitas dan pemerataan pendidikan bagi masyarakat. Karawang terkenal sebagai kota lumbung padi dan industri terbesar di Indonesia. Perkembangan industri yang sangat pesat di Karawang merupakan peluang yang luas untuk menjadikan Unsika sebagai universitas unggul dan lebih maju lagi. Meskipun baru 5 tahun beralih menjadi perguruan tinggi negeri, Unsika telah mendapatkan akreditasi institusi dengan nilai B dari Bank PT. Unsika diinisiasi menjadi perguruan tinggi oleh Bapak Gubernur di masa itu dengan tujuan untuk membuat pusat peradaban baru di wilayah utara bagian Jawa Barat sebagai pintu gerbang Provinsi Jawa Barat. Universitas Singaperbangsa Karawang pada tanggal 2 Februari tahun 1982 terdaftar sebagai sekolah tinggi dengan Yayasan Pembina Perguruan Tinggi Pangkal Perjuangan oleh Menteri Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia. Selanjutnya dengan dikeluarkannya Peraturan Presiden Republik Indonesia nomor 123 pada tahun 2014, Universitas Singaperbangsa Karawang beralih status dari perguruan tinggi swasta menjadi perguruan tinggi negeri pada tanggal 6 Oktober tahun 2014. Pengembangan revenue generating units yaitu Pusat Kajian Pangan Strategis atau Agro Education Center, Laboratorium Terpadu, Studio Pusat Bahasa dan Training Center, ICT Center, Auditorium, Pusat Bisnis, ATM Center, dan fasilitas olahraga lainnya. Dianggap akan membantu dalam peningkatan motivasi dan juga prestasi bagi mahasiswa. Di sini kita hadir bersama untuk belajar, berproses, dan menempa diri agar terus melangkah dalam meraih impian di masa depan. Memahami tantangan dunia global bersama sang pemilik ilmu, kami akan terus membuka jalan menuju masa depan tanpa lelah.
Ukir cerita muda mimpimu untuk mencapai kesuksesan di masa depan. Yuk kuliah di Unsika.
Songs performance by para Sika, Paguyuban Rakyat Seni Unsika.
Di sini.
Sembarangan.
And now we are moving to the fourth agenda. This is welcoming speech. The first speech is from the organizing committee report from the head of Institute of Research and Community Service of UNSICA. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mimin Mariati, the floor is yours.
Good morning. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Singaperbangsa Karawang, Professor Dr. Sri Mulyani. The distinguished keynote speaker from different countries. The respectable speaker from UNSICA and all the audiences of this webinar. Firstly, by the gratitude of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, we are here now in good health to carry out the dissemination event today. The COVID-19 pandemic that hit the world to this day has had a tremendous impact on all sectors. However, as academics, this pandemic should not stop us continue to carry out our research. Which one of aim is to bring good to society. They inspired us to make this decision as the theme for today's dissemination. This event is a platform to share information on how the COVID-19 pandemic affected many sectors in several countries. In addition, it also a chance for scholars of UNSICA to present their research and international events. I'm proud to convey that during this today event, we will welcome tourist keynote speakers from 5 different countries and 9 different institutions across Asia. We would also present 9 speakers from UNSICA, coming from 9 different faculties. This is the total number of the UNSICA currently have. We will also meet audience from various colleagues and community institutions. Thank you to all speakers who are attending and also all audience who have joined this dissemination. This event is the first international dissemination that we have. Hopefully, it can be useful for all of us and as a means of sharing information about the COVID-19 pandemic and also the operation between UNSICA and other institutions. We apologize to the revenue of this event, and we will continue to improve it in the future. Let me end my report with a wish that this event will be beneficial to all participants in this dissemination. And hopefully, we can meet again at other collaboration event. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The second speech is from the Rector of UNSICA, the Honorable Professor Dr. Sri Mulyani, AKCA. The floor is yours.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for Aditya Rinaldi as master ceremony for this event, also Madi Santoso, and the distinguished speakers lecturers, participants, my beloved students, and also the Honorable Dr. Mimin as a head of research and community service in Unsika. Also to Miss Fardia as a head of international office. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Welcome on international webinar series. Is hosted by research and community service institution, one of the best institutions in Unsika, also international affairs, and especially to keynote speakers, namely Mrs. Monirul Islam. I am apologize if I'm wrong to speak in. Jona Carla Zibin, Monirul Islam from Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute, Bangladesh. Okay. Also Jona Carla Zibin, Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Abdul Razak Walayat University, Thailand. MD Ariful Haq, PhD, City University of Hong Kong, China. Dr. Yogi Tripasetyo, Mafua University, Philippines. Prof. Erlani Gani from University Technology Mara. Also Rolando Talampas, PhD, University of the Philippines, Diliman, Philippines. Rosa Bella Quench Dosa, Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Dr. Sina Kaur, University of Malaya, Malaysia. Li Jingyi, University of Malaya. Also Professor Dr. Raymond Au, University of Malaya. And finally Farida Gamar from Electronic Engineering, Polytechnic Institute of Surabaya, Indonesia. Thank you so much for attending on this webinar series. International webinar series is one of the international program to improve our accreditation in the world. It is very important for us, especially for Unsika and also for my colleague universities to involve on this seminar. As we know, this seminar have several goals. The first goal to disseminate all of research, especially for keynote speakers, and also to improve our collaboration, especially for 5 countries and 12 keynote speakers, and also gathering of knowledge transfer. We can we can complete each other to know how to implement, how to face this pandemic, especially for COVID-19. So we hope we can collaborate to improve our joint research, joint lecturers, joint visiting professor, and student exchange, and also. So thank you so much for participants. There are 12 speakers from 5 different countries and 9 different institutions across Asia, as I namely as before. And also, we hope we can improve our collaboration to improve our performance. We know international webinar series is one of the programs we can recognize this program as one of the international program for our institution. So thank you so much for coming in this seminar international webinar series. Please join, and also my apologize for any inconvenience. Thank you so much. Please enjoy. Good morning. Okay, please Aditya, you can continue.
Okay, many thanks, ma'am. To all participants, we would like to inform you this international webinar will be held in 2 days. And I would like to introduce to all invited speakers to all participants. In the first day, there are Monirul Islam from Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute, Jona Carla Sibian from Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Abdul Razak Walai from University Thailand, Med Ariful Haq PhD from City University of Hong Kong, China, Dr. Yogi Triprasityo Mapua University from Philippines. In the second day, there are Professor Erlan Kaigaini from University Technology Mara, Malaysia, Rolando Talampas PhD from University of the Philippines, Diliman, Rosabella Quindoza from Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Dr. Sina Kaur from University of Malaya, Malaysia, Lee Jingyi from University of Malaya, Professor Dr. Raymond Oi from University of Malaya, Farida Gamar from Electric Engineering Polytechnic Institute of Surabaya. Now we are moving to the main agenda. There are presentations from invited speakers. In this agenda, all participants will be guided by Mr. Made Panji Teguh Prakoso. To Mr. Made, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes, my name is Made Panji Teguh Santoso. Yes, it's a very long name. It's a Balinese and Javanese name. I'm an Indonesian, so I have no family name. So you can call me all Made. In my hands here, we have a list of distinguished speakers here, and I will be your moderator along the day. I hope you're not bored with me, because we have like lots of new knowledge to learn from our speakers here. We have 10 speakers coming right to you today. To begin with, we have a distinguished speaker from Bangladesh. May I introduce you to Mr. Monirul Islam. Mr. Monirul Islam, he's a scholar from Bangladesh Agricultural University. And now he is working as a scientific officer in agriculture in Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute. He finished his education, his bachelor's degree in science in agriculture, with honors. Yes. And then he has major subjects in agronomy, soil science, horticulture, plant pathology, entomology, plant biotechnology, economics, animal science, poultry and beef cattle production, etc. And then in 2011 until 2012, he finished his master's degree in science in horticulture from Bangladesh Agriculture University in Mymensingh. Okay, I apologize for the mispronunciation. And he majored post-harvest technology of fruits and vegetables, fruit-vegetable crop management, advanced production technology of fruits and vegetables, ornamental landscape horticulture, advanced research methodology. Today, he has something to show us, something to share with us with his paper. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please, we welcome Mr. Monirul Islam, and for that, we will give a very loud round of applause. Please, Mr. Monirul.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Actually, I need a little time to connect with the Zoom with my laptop. I apologize.
Don't worry, sir.
Just a minute.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please let me know that you are listening to me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm really sorry first of all that I'm taking too much time during the preparation. However,
No worries.
respected all the panelists, respected other audience, members from Unsika and some other parts of the world, they are my friends. You're most welcome to my presentation. And of course, I would like to say in Indonesian language, Selamat datang. Okay, this is Modul Islam speaking, Scientific Officer, Horticulture Research Center, Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute, Bangladesh. I'm working in this institute. So you know that nowadays, as I'm an agriculturalist and it is impacted by the COVID-19 situation. So we are in the middle portion of COVID-19 and agriculture. And I will try my best to show some impact of COVID-19 in agriculture in Bangladesh. That is why my presentation title is Initiatives and Dissemination of Technologies for the Sustainability of Agricultural Farming during COVID-19 pandemic in Bangladesh. But before showing this presentation, I would like to show a little story of my country, if you please permit me, dear moderator. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay, thank you. So that's all. Very short story of the raising of country. Though the video was a little more, but there is a time limitation. That is why I should stop. However, the background of today's webinar, you know that Bangladesh is not new to disaster or major humanitarian crises, sitting astride a river delta at the bottom of the Himalayan range. The people of our country actually struggled a lot from different times with the natural calamities, disasters, and you know that recently hosted the world's largest refugee camp alongside the southern border of the country. Bangladesh and its people have shown tremendous resilience in fending off not only natural disasters such as floods and cyclones, but also man-made one like in 1997 Asian financial crisis and the 2008 global financial crisis. But you know that in all these cases, the COVID-19 situation is very much different and different magnitude, and it requires an unprecedented response. So this is the picture during the COVID-19 situation, which areas was red. They were fully locked down during the COVID situation from 5th May to, March to May. Due to the lockdown situation and zero trade rate, already 2 million people lost their job in my country, as well as BRAC reported that extreme poverty resembles 60% than before, and 14% of the people have no food at home. Bangladesh public and private sector, that is why, come together to cope up with this COVID-19 situation and to make the sustainability in agriculture. As the pandemic unfolds, Bangladesh's Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Livestock has taken different steps for supporting the farmers, businessmen, or agricultural commodity related stakeholders for transportation, value addition, and some other cropping system commences. At a glance, agriculture of Bangladesh. Dear audience, I don't would like to show all the things. I just would like to say you that cropping intensity of our country of Bangladesh, 192%. And on the other hand, the contribution of agriculture to GDP is 14.75%. So now I'm showing a survey report that was in Bangladesh during March to May. Jalaluddin and Shoaib and MD Fazli Arafat, who between 14 and 18 March 2020, a brief survey was carried out where the 100 respondents were participated in this questionnaire for answering from different backgrounds. And the participants were randomly selected from 6 hotspots in the country. And the 6 hotspots were also selected by different topography, cultivation, and degradation conditions. Among the hotspots, our areas, in our language, wetland ecosystem, it is called, the coastal region, Barents Tract, and floodplain were targeted in particular to explore the impact of COVID-19 on farming communities there. 5 broad categories could be distinguished by this way: that farms in areas where winter rice, Bodo is harvested, because you know that during the COVID situation, it was March attracted lockdown our country in our country. That is why the Bodo rice that was planted in winter, but harvesting time is April to May. Our areas, wetland, and other parts of the country, April to June. Farms in the coastal region where vegetables, melons, fisheries, etc. has been cultivated April to May. So this situation this time was so much crucial for the farmers to harvest the crop or to harvest their other products. Farms in areas. Barents Tract is called the northwestern part of the country, which is drought-prone areas. So there are mainly fruits are cultivated, especially the mango, lychee, banana, etc. Fishery areas, especially for export-oriented shrimp farming and transportation of prawn seeds from hatcheries at Cox's Bazar, which is situated at the south eastern part of the country. However, from our study of this survey report, risks cited in farming communities due to COVID-19 was, we observed that, first of all, lack of cash and increased debt will compromise access to production inputs for the coming agricultural season. Farmers who owe loans locally may be forced to sell their goods at lower prices to pay off debt because the country was locked down. They could not get access, transportation to transfer their products from one region to another region. That is why actually they were facing the problems at that time. Loss of labor mobility due to social distancing and reduced transportation led to unavailability of agricultural workers. And that is why labor costs actually rose at the time as 1,000 Bangladeshi taka per person per day in some areas, nearly double the usual. Distressed selling of machinery, agricultural equipments, savings, livestock, etc., because they should have to cover their living or health costs and for the coming unforeseen expenses. Local business that rely on exports and supply chain. On the other hand, some products, for example, onions, oil, sugar, etc., which is dependent on imports, were harmed by disrupted communication and marketing systems during COVID-19 situation in Bangladesh. Number 6, small-scale farmers are facing difficulties working their own land and accessing markets to sell their products or to buy seeds and other essential inputs. Marketing of high-value commodities like fruits, vegetables, poultry, and dairies has been impaired by lockdowns and related communication difficulties as well. Blockages to transport routes are particularly harmful to fresh products supply chain, possibly causing increased food loss and waste because they could not transfer their products with the transportation to the distant markets, that they are targeted markets. That is why it happens. Wholesale buyers, traders are showing less interest in agricultural products as transport costs have increased significantly. Basha and Atik 2020 has stated that approximately 350,000 dairy farmers across Bangladesh are trying to survive the coronavirus epidemic as about 27,000 tons of milk are not sold every day. In addition, people have begun to avoid chicken and egg consumption in the midst of the coronavirus outbreak, which has resulted in a drop in chicken prices of up to 75%, with the loss is estimated to reach, that $15 million by April 9. So what was the motivation for agricultural sustainability during COVID-19? Our motivation was that our government, our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, told us that we should have to use every piece of land for the production of agricultural produces. That means there should not have any fallow lands, and it was that it was one kind of medicine for the agriculturists to do work for the society, because aftermath of the COVID-19 there could be a food insecurity. That is why we should go for more production. So what are the steps that farmers, how to adapt to the situation at that time? Farmers are natural self-made innovators, to cope with current challenges. They've used a variety of techniques, strategies, including marketing directly from the field using mobile phone surveys. It was really an amazing thing, amazing tools for selling the products via smartphones, via e-commerce, that e-commerce. So this situation, these tools was so effective during the COVID-19 situation. Farmers directly sell from their field to the customers. Proactively communicating with agricultural officers, other organizations, NGOs, and vendors in cities in order to sell their products. That means the farmers together, they from their own passion, to communicate with the officials, communicate with the vendors, communicate with the other businessmen in the cities to sell their product. Developing community-based marketing. Selecting less labor-intensive crops for the next growing season, because they have to fight for the health, they have to pay more for the health, and upcoming season they should have to live on. That is why they went for the less intensive crop, labor intensive crops for the next growing season. Fish farmers are keeping their cultured fish in the pond for longer in some cases because there were no available market to sell. Dairy products and poultry are also on board of market chain through mobile stalls across the country. It is the first time for the country that mobile stalls for the dairy products as well as the fisheries in different parts, different that roads, different besides different market, besides different colony, they sell their products, by the way. So what the government initiatives at that time or support, and how the government actually tried to motivate the farmers, motivate the general people to that control or to cope up with this situation. So first of all, the government of Bangladesh has approved 5,000 crore, that means 590 million US dollar loan, soft loan for the farmers with only 4% interest rate. That is in general 9.5% to 12% rate. So it was given to the farmers in this situation. Facilitating machinery for crop harvesting, harvester and reaper at subsidized rate, and also aiding mobilization of farm labor. Exempting farm product transportation from lockdown to preserve market chains. They actually exempt some rates of product transportation and via the government officials, via the government authorities. And then fostering public-private linkages, which was really important to protect the supply chain. Motivating farmers to utilize all types of land and requesting that field officers stay at sites to help farmers. Yes, already I told that every land should be under cultivation. It was the dialogue of our Prime Minister, and that is why all the agriculturists and agricultural personnel were bound to go to the field to communicate with the farmers as they can utilize their land properly. Improving information systems, including community radio, that newspaper, electronic medias, television. In all cases, there were some publicity about the country's agricultural sustainability. NGO microcredit managers have been asked to suspend loan collection during COVID-19 because the people cannot sell their products. How they could get the income? How pay back their loan? That is why it was initiated by the NGOs that the farmers can pay their loans within longer period. So what is the case example? One of the case example in our area, that means wetland areas, where harvesting bore rice before flash flood April, May, because April to May, there most of the time there are flash flood in our country, and we have to harvest this bore rice before April, May. But you know that it was the worst situation. There were no labor, there were no transportation, there were no, because lockdown, whole the country was locked down. So what happened? In that cases, our government, especially the Ministry of Agriculture, initiated that combined harvester, they actually sent to that particular areas, as well as the labor mobilization. They were done from one areas to another areas with the special facilities of the buses, maintaining the social distances to recover this situation within April, May, before flash flood, and it was succeed. And it was one of the most important part of our country that there were no single rice field that damaged by the flash flood or any other natural hazards during COVID-19. There were some special telephone services or hotline services. For example, agriculture portal 3331 Krishak Bondhu call center. It is Krishak means farmers friendly call center. Krishi call center, that means agriculture call center 16123 by Ministry of Agriculture. That means it was 24 hours open to have the questions from the farmers, what are they facing. According to World Bank, 30,000 call was made for agricultural help from 8 underdeveloped districts only during the first week of August. That means there are 64 districts in our country. 8 underdeveloped districts, within only 1 week, 30,000 calls was made by the farmers in the COVID-19 situation. So it was really effective tools. Dissemination of agricultural technologies during COVID-19, in which sector actually the government service holder, government organizations, NGOs, private organizations, research organization like my organization, Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute, all together actually worked in this case to disseminate the new technologies as well as the matured technologies that would be the beneficial for the farmers. We did actually disseminate to the farmers to cope up this situation, especially for seeds and of course the free fruit trees, saplings, especially the quick growing fruits, for example, papaya, lemon, lychee, mango, to farmers all over the country. Training to trainers and farmers. The DAE, Department of Agriculture Extension, especially did this work to train up the farmers to to use their land, how to properly use their land, how to use the fallow land under cultivation. So all the training for the farmers and trainers were done during the COVID-19 situation, because we have to protect our people, we have to feed our people aftermath of the COVID-19. Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute opened an online information service. The government already, that I told the hotline were there, but especially from our organization, we also opened the online information service where the people from every corner of the country can ask any kinds of problems related to the agriculture, and we solved the problem via online. BRI and DA also worked for the establishment of homestead gardening, as there was lockdown in open market. People could not go to the market to buy their products. That is why homestead gardening was so much effective tools for having or fulfilling their family nutrition. So in villages, in every cases, the technologies, homestead gardening, which crops are better for the shady places and semi-shady places, we suggested the farmers to grow such kinds of products in their homestead garden. Rooftop gardening was one of the another tools, that especially the city dwellers who cannot go to the market. So what happens? They can grow their crops in their rooftop, and they can get a little bit crops to fulfill their family demand. Agroforestry system, which is also important, that our mango orchards, mostly in the Barinth tract, what should I say, northwestern part of the country, there are many mango orchards, large mango orchards, but between the mango trees, they didn't cultivate different crops, but it is so much easy to cultivate different crops between the rows, between the rows of the trees of mango orchards, any other orchards. So we actually did these technologies to the farmers field, that you can use this land properly, as our government, as our prime minister telling that not to follow every single land. So we can easily use this land for vegetables, for arrowheads, that some spices like ginger, turmeric between the rows. So you can get mango as well as from this piece of land, you can get more products from the same piece of land. So we worked on it. Floating agriculture, it is not actually the matter of our, now it is the matter of UNESCO, because UNESCO called it one of the heritage system, included as a heritage. Floating agriculture that is actually practiced by the farmers in the coastal regions of Bangladesh. That in coastal regions, most of the time of the year, there is a stagnant water. So how they can grow crop? So by this way, they can grow crops in water, after water, by making special structure. Gher agriculture, in coastal areas, there are different farms on shrimp culture, but they have a piece of land beside, the pond and their shrimp culture farm. So they also can cultivate such types of melon types crops easily. Short agriculture, where the salinity is so much high. In that case, there is a sorghum technique in which they peel up the soil, and during the soil peel up, and on the soil they cultivate the vegetables, especially vegetables and some other spices crops easily they can grow. So other initiatives, effective raising of online entrepreneurship, I already told, through which agricultural products and also other products were sold via online like f-commerce and e-commerce. For example, about 30% produced mango was sold via online during COVID-19 situation because the market was locked down. People cannot go to the market for buying this product, and also, that the sellers cannot sell their product. So f-commerce and e-commerce were the most important tools at that time as a marketing. Localized home delivery of different products. Some young entrepreneurs of our country, they actually did this job very well. They selected some areas, special areas, some localized areas, and they sell their product from one showroom to home delivery, different products. The people actually order via online e-commerce or pages, then they actually serve the products to the home system by, of course, by maintaining the social distancing and some other safety measures. Intervention of promising mobile market. Promising mobile market means the movable market. That is, that some vendors from rickshaws and some other short, what should I say, small type of vehicle, and they provide the products of vegetables to the home-to-home delivery. Creation of spot market by the local authority. For example, that our organization, Bangladesh Agricultural Research Organization, it's a very great land and it is a boundary. There, like this, there are many organizations. So within this organization, within this premises of the organization, there are spot market, as the people from our office should not go outside for buying any products. So spot market was also an important market. So what is the results from this? About 100,000 cows were sold via online within only 2 weeks. It's really amazing. There are 1,600 digital agricultural service centers countrywide, from where about 10 to 20-fold more farmers were taking services during COVID-19. During COVID-19, about 8 million more smartphone was adopted for having e-services. This is the reason of use of smartphone. Only smartphone, if you have, you can order anything from online from every corner of the country. So the overall result is that, though we thought before my presentation that when the situation is like that, our agricultural production will be diminished during the COVID-19, but surprising matter is that trade in agricultural products even increased in March and April 2020 when the COVID-19 or the country was locked down by 3.3% and 0.6% respectively compared to the same period in 2019. Though trade in non-agricultural products dropped by 10.2% in March and by 35.7% in April 2020 compared to the same time period in 2019. So what is the lesson learned from my presentation? What should we conclude? The thing is that COVID-19 is, come from natural. So we cannot, what should I say? We cannot eradicate it. It could be all time with us, but we have to cope up with this. We should have to make some strategies how to survive and how to make other people survive. So the telecommunication systems, different harvesting and different programs by the agriculture extension services, research organization, we should have to work all together in this situation. Mechanization, especially use of harvesters, proved effective in our area because there are many lands, and it would really be a devastating matter if we could not that harvest the products from these areas. Farmers' awareness, it's really important of crisis, and ability to adapt and use of communication system network is an important integral part, that they should have to use with the digital technologies at this time or any other situations in the future. They should have to cope up with this ability, and they should have to aware about the crisis. Different technologies were disseminated properly because the research organization like my organization, Bangladesh Agricultural Research Institute, and other institutes disseminate their technologies, different products, different production technologies to the farmers within the very short period of time, and they get succeeded. The government asked microcredit institutions to suspend their loan, already I told, and development of ever-rising online market. All together, actually, that contribute during the COVID-19 situation in Bangladesh to cope up with. So that's all my presentation. Maybe I don't know, I took a longer time or not. However, what should I say? I must thanks Allah, first of all, that without whom help, I could not be able to present my presentation. And secondly, of course, I show my greatest gratitudes to UNSICA LPPM for arranging such a very valuable webinar and inviting me as a speaker. Thank you so much. Terima kasih. If you have any questions, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Moniru. That was a very thorough presentation. Before I allow people to ask questions, which I'm sure they have a lot, let me please allow me to summarize what you have just mentioned here. Well, Bangladesh has been challenged by nature and plenty of times due to its position, geographical position. And it is a different story with the attacks from the COVID-19, one of which is 2 million new unemployment. Well, the risk due to COVID-19 is less lack of cash. That means that. And then the difficulties to pay off, that's actually also reduce the sales. And the social distancing makes it difficult for labor to move. And that is not good actually for business when people cannot move. And then the next thing is that distress selling for machinery. And there's also export limitation. Bangladesh cannot sell for the market abroad. And it is actually a very imminent threat to the government and to the country itself. And it is very difficult to access market, even inside Bangladesh. But there's motivation for agricultural sustainability, one of which is farmer adaptation. Number one, online marketing. Farmers have begun selling their products through the internet. And then active communication with agency and community-based marketing, labor-intensive crops, and keeping cultured fish longer in their ponds so they don't harvest it, right? So they grow bigger. Daily products are on board of chain through mobile sales. And the government of Bangladesh does not stand still in this case. They go down and then they help the farmers here with soft loans, USD 590 million in terms of machinery, transportation, public-private linkages, improving information system, loan collection, moratorium, so that the farmers do not have to pay their debt now. They can pay it later. Right, and the case example is the flash flood, or we call that in Bahasa Indonesia as banjir bandang, right? And key challenge here, the solution is that the mechanized harvesters or the reapers, so that they can finish the harvest much faster, and then the labor mobilization. Of course, there is call center, so that the government can really understand what the farmers are actually experiencing. And the number of income calls has shown what we call the spirit of the farmers to be in contact with the government. And the dissemination. The dissemination here involves the institution and then training. And then the training here consists of homestead gardening. Everybody goes back to farming, utilizing all the possible land they have, and roof gardening and orchards here. And this is actually a good example because this is a solid proof of non-monoculture farming, which is actually beneficial for all. And there is also floating agriculture, floating Ger and Sorgen agriculture, which actually takes advantage from the geographical condition of Bangladesh, which is often wet and almost watered everywhere, right? Other initiatives is online entrepreneurship, and then home delivery, mobile market, spot market. The results have been satisfying. The sales of cattle has increased significantly, and farmers taking digital services have also gone up. And in trade agriculture increased in March by 3.3% compared to that of non-agriculture, which dropped significantly. So this is what we learn. We can all learn from Bangladesh, right? Surviving. That is the spirit we have to keep alive. And then mechanization. We have to use all the machines that we have. If we don't have the machine, then invent the machine. And then the awareness that we are in crisis. So we need to, what we call, to rise, right? And then technologies. And then, of course, the government has to take part in these all initiatives, which is actually financial support, be it in the loan, the grant perhaps, or even of debt payment. And then online market development. See, this is actually a good example we can learn from Bangladesh. We can see that Bangladesh has proven to be one of the emerging producers of the goods in the world. If you go to the market in Indonesia, if you go to the malls, you go to the boutique outlets, and you can see all the name, the tags behind, it's made in Bangladesh. So now we all learn that actually Bangladesh has something to show us, to share with us, with the strength of its agriculture. Thank you very much. Now, I think we have still time for 2 people to ask. I could see some people raising their hands, but now I cannot see their hands anymore. Right? And we all right. In the chat, please, would anybody like to ask a question or to add something to that? Okay, 2 people, Mr. Romi Laksono and Mr. Darso Sugiono. Okay, I suppose Mr. Darso Sugiono raised his hand first. Mr. Darso, please.
You can
yes
hear my sound?
Yes, okay. Yes, I can hear your voice clearly, Mr. Darso, please.
Okay, I want to ask some problem of Indonesian farmer. I think farmer in Indonesia for very important. Yeah, how to government of Bangladesh to guarantee farmer price to remain stable in the event of a major harvest, or in Indonesia the name is puso, like that. You can I mean like that, Mr. Made.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Darso. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. So before we move on to Mr. Robin Laksono, let me repeat your question. So how does Bangladesh government sustain the stability of price in the crisis? Let's say if there is harvest failure. Is that your question, Mr. Darso?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Romi Laksono, please. Yes, Mr. Romi, please do. Your microphone is still off, sir.
Okay, yes. Mr. Made.
Yes.
Thank you for question for me. I have one question for development non-agriculture system during pandemic COVID-19 in Bangladesh. For example, hydroponic system and aeroponic system. Thank you, Mr. Made.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Romy. So your question is, you would like to know how far the government of Bangladesh has developed the hydroponic and other kinds of agriculture in Bangladesh amidst this
Yes.
crisis. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Mr. Monirul Islam. You have two questions from our lecturers in the Faculty of Agriculture. Please, Mr. Monirul.
Thank you so much. Thank you for nice questions indeed. However, the first question as I listened that how the government sustained the stability of price of product in the market during COVID-19 situation. Am I right?
Yes.
So in that case, actually, that price were fluctuated at the time of COVID-19. It was not stable indeed. But that in the first position, or the what should I say, initiation of COVID-19 during March, it was stable, but April to May there is no stability of prices. But we tried our that because the people first of the time, they could not able to transport their products to the market, distant market or the local market, because country was fully locked down most of the part. So then the government actually decided that they should have to subsidize the transportation of the product and a special vehicle arrangement for transporting from one region to another region, different agricultural products. So by this way, actually, in the last time of the situation, as for example, now in present situation, the price is quite stable. But that in that situation, the price was not stable. It was fluctuated in different areas. The second question is, what was that? Actually, I'm sorry. Hello, Santoso. I think your mic is. Please unmute your mic.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
The second one is actually from Mr. Romy, and he would like to know about the development of the government of Bangladesh has achieved in terms of other kinds of agriculture, in this case, hydroponic, etc. Yes.
Okay, hydroponics is not really disseminated properly or hugely to the city gardeners or dwellers, but rooftop gardening with that soil-less culture. Though hydroponic itself is soil-less culture, but we're trying to motivate the farmers to use that vermicompost with cocoa dust, cocoa peat, like this. So rooftop gardening is actually spread all over the country, especially the cities, by the government initiatives as well as the personal interest of the city dwellers. But hydroponics is yet not distributed all over the country, especially the rooftop gardening. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nanti minta ke si
I hope
kita kemarin berapa orang sih yang datang sih si itu?
I hope that answers. Excuse me, Mr.
Hitung
Lee.
aja dulu sebelum ada peserta.
All right, thank you very much. Yes. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Moniro. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Darthe and Mr. Romi. Well, that was actually a very good elaboration from Mr. Moniro Islam from Bangladesh. And for that, let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Yes,
so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Back to you, MC. Thank you.
All right, well, presentation from Moniro Islam. Now we are moving to the second presentation. Here we have the Jonah Carla Sibian from Polytechnic University of the Philippines from Philippines by the title of the research, Facing the Challenge of Online Learning, Digital Defined as Experience by the Students During the COVID-19 Pandemic. And also, this time will be guided by Mr. Madi. Back again to Mr. Maji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MC. Yes, this is our second presentation today. We have Miss Jona Carla C. Bien from the Philippines. Yes, Miss Jona Carla C. Bien here was born in 1988 in San Juan, Metro Manila, right? And she is a doctor in Doctor of Philosophy, the PhD in Educational Psychology candidate. Yes, and then she finished her master's degree in Polytechnic University of the Philippines, or the PUP, and then she got the bachelor's degree in the Perpetual Health College of Manila. Today, we're going to listen to her elaboration here, and let's see if we can actually learn lots of things, like I am sure about, right, from the presentation. Yes, please give her a big round of applause. Yes.
So good morning, everyone. Salamat pagi, especially to the head of LPPM, Dr. Mimin Mariati, and Director of the UNSICA, Professor Dr. Sri Mulyani, also to the organizers of this event. I would also like to give acknowledgement to Dr. Divina Pasumbal, the Dean of the College of Communication from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. So let me share my presentation about the digital divide. This is one of the most important or interesting topic nowadays, especially we are being faced with a challenging situation wherein it's not only the Philippines which had been affected, but most importantly, this is the problem or a challenge that the whole world is currently facing. So the title of my presentation is about facing the challenge of online learning, digital divide, as experienced by the students during the COVID-19 pandemic. Once again, namasaya Jona Carla Sibian from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. So for the presentation outline, this will be the flow of my discussion as I go along with today's presentation. I'll begin with an introduction, the methodology, the results, analysis, discussion, some recommendations. For the introduction, what is digital divide? First of all, it is very essential that everybody would have an understanding or a knowledge of what digital divide is. From the transitioning of the face-to-face learning to an online learning, definitely there are a lot of challenges that individuals have faced. It's not only the students who were greatly challenged here, but even the teachers or the lecturers, as well as the parents, are really facing a lot of challenging things when it comes to the education system that we have right now. So first of all, the digital divide refers to the difference in access to technology between the nations, regions, and based on the demographic factors such as the income, the race, and the age. So in the education sector, this term presents the following: the inequalities in physical access to technology, as well as the imbalances in resources and skills needed to effectively participate as a digital citizen. So we could see that technology would really be a factor, since we would like to prevent the spread or the infection of the virus. Then the face-to-face classes has been transformed into an online learning wherein the students will be staying at home, will be using their gadgets, will be utilizing the internet in order to connect to a meeting room wherein the lectures will be delivered and discussed. Now we have here the levels of the digital divide. We'll begin with the first level, which would include the school infrastructure. The first level includes hardware, software, internet access, support for technology. So as you could see here, the gadgets that the students are using, the applications or the different softwares, as well as the platforms that has to be utilized by the teachers and the students is one of the included item in the first level digital divide, together with internet connectivity, whether they use Wi-Fi, pocket data, and so on. And then the second level would refer to the classroom, the use of technology by the teachers and the students. And the third level would pertain to the individual students, wherein it's achieved or it's considered as a form of an empowerment, as these different levels are effectively and efficiently utilized and implemented to a certain organization or a certain institution. Now, for the infrastructure, this refers to the basic physical and organizational structures and facilities needed for the operation of a society or an enterprise. So as you could see here, there is a difference with regards to the appearance of the illustration or the picture. On this side, you could see a girl using laptop, using a cell phone. On her background, it is something colorful. There are lines, there are some icons here representing different platforms, which would also involve a connection, meaning to say that through the use of the gadgets, these lines have represented that there is a connection from the person and also other individuals with the use of the technology that has been mentioned. And these colors represent that there is a good connection. On the other hand, if you look at this illustration, it's dull, it's black and white, that you could see that there could be a poor connection. And also there are little icons here, and the color isn't that lively to indicate that the connection is not good. And from here, we could really see how digital divide plays a role in the education. Later on, we'll give more clarification on this. Also, part of the infrastructure, the speed of the internet is one of the factors. Here in the Philippine setting, this is one of the issues, especially in the first day of the classes, in the opening of the classes, wherein different insights from teachers and students were asked, and there were a lot of voices from the teachers and the students who would say that the internet connection is really one of the greatest problems that they have faced because it's slow, and there were really areas wherein it's a dead spot, and that is really a great challenge as to how are you going to get into your meeting room and be with your teachers or your students to have your classes. Another, devices. So this refers to access to computing devices such as computers, networking gear, mobile phones, and so on. So with your case, what are the gadgets that you use when you do your online teaching? What are the specifications of the gadgets or the devices that you use? Because it's not just about the gadgets, but it's the specifications. How long or what could it provide? How many memory or gigabyte could you have, the storage of the information, the software that you're going to download, the platform that you're going to install in it? Could it sufficiently hold such kind of great details with regards to the device that you are using? And what if the person or the student or the teacher doesn't have those kind of devices or cannot afford to have those devices? Then digital divide sets in once again. Then with regards to education, access to computers in school or at home, the effective use of technology and teaching of basic technology skills to students. Of course, it's very important that we don't just have these devices, but the knowledge on using them, as well as being comfortable with the use of the software installed in your devices, is also a great consideration when it comes to digital divide. Whether we admit it or not, there are some teachers, there are some parents, or even students who are not really good or who are not used in making or utilizing this technology, right? Especially they were using the setup wherein their children are sent to school, The children learn at school, and the teachers in school are the ones educating the students. But what about those areas or those situations wherein they do not have this good knowledge of the technology? So that could be a call for the digital divide once again. Now we have defensive computing, information security, wherein the knowledge of the safe computer practices and information security, proper management of devices, upgrading of software and hardware. So is your device having this good quality of information security? Or the documents that you're going to store or to save or to send or to share with your students secured? Now, aside from that, we also have to consider upgrading of your software, updating of the devices that you're using, because there are some applications or there are some software that would only function if your device is on its latest version. But what if the specification of your device could no longer reach that kind of updating that it needs to run a program? Another, for example, of the digital divide is the financial capability. Okay, definitely in financial capability, those belonging to the higher class or those who are having a higher level of socioeconomic status, then you could see that they could afford to get devices with higher specifications, with good quality or better quality, but taking into consideration the amount that you're going to pay in order to have such kind of devices. And definitely, there will be a difference when it comes to the group of the people belonging to the low socioeconomic status. Okay, so another is the blocking, because there are some locations or there are some places wherein this site couldn't be accessed. Like, for example, in one country, they couldn't use Zoom, they couldn't use MS Teams or so on. There is only a certain platform that the place could be able to utilize. Now for the methodology, here it will present the respondents, the survey questionnaire, a background of the survey questionnaire, and the statistical treatment that had been used in the study. So for the respondents, there are 408 students who participated in the survey questionnaire, whom are enrolled in private and public institutions. So there was a self-made questionnaire utilized, and this is administered through Google Forms. We make use of the technology right now for getting in information, for gathering ideas from the people. And the survey questionnaire included the following information: the demographic variables such as the age, the sex, the degree program of the students, as well as the monthly family income. For the methods, descriptive statistics is being used. It's used to describe the basic features of the data in the study and provide simple summaries about the sample and the measures. For also, the SPSS, or the software statistical package for social sciences, was used to analyze the data. And cross-tabulation is being used, wherein there are variables which are being cross-tabulated, and it was taken a look if this could affect each other. It is a method to quantitatively analyze the relationship between multiple variables, and usually performed on categorical data, or data that can be divided into mutually exclusive groups. So for the results, so for the total number of the respondents, we have here the male and the female. As you could see, a greater percentage are the females. And then for institutions where the respondents are studying, here are the private universities in the Philippines, and also public universities in the Philippines. In the year level of the respondents mostly belong to the first year. Geographical location of the respondents per region. So most of the respondents are from the national capital region, as you could see here, and it has also have the respondents from the different regions in the Philippines. For the respondents within Metro Manila, mostly are residing at Quezon City. For the family income, mostly belong to above 91,000. Then for the number of the devices the students have access with, as you could see on the graph, most of the students utilize 2 devices. And the type of the devices accessed by the respondents, greater percentage includes the use of smartphone. But other gadgets include laptops, tablets, personal computers, and some percentage are also utilizing a printer. So do the respondents share their devices with others? As you could see here. So 216 of the respondents do not share it with their family members. And number of persons the respondents share their device with, greater percentage falls on 0. The rest they utilize their gadgets, sharing it with some of their family members. And the type of the internet connectivity used, so greater percentage involves the use of Wi-Fi, others use mobile data, and the rest use a combination of the Wi-Fi and the mobile data. And for the internet providers, as you could see here, the greatest percentage would be for those using the PLDT or the prepaid Wi-Fi. And then mobile network used by the respondents, the percentage that has the most answer is the use of Globe. And the quality of the internet connection, as you could see here, 74% or 300 of the respondents said that there is an erratic, meaning a moderate to slow internet connection. So for the analysis, so the monthly family income, which is cross-tabulated with the number of devices used by the students, as you could see here. So for those above 91,000, you could see that the most of the number of the devices are the students use 2 gadgets, others use 1, but this would be coming into the families who are earning above 91,000 per month. And then the internet connection as cross-tabulated with the location. Current location, rural, urban, and within Metro Manila. As you could see here, 55 or 70.5% for erratic. And then for urban area, within current location, it's 72% for the urban. And within Metro Manila, it's 75.2%, all having an erratic quality of internet connection. Now, so for the discussions, given the results that has been compiled in the study or that has been gathered in the study, this will be the effects of technology in the education. So transformation because of the new technological breakthroughs, and this has affected the way things are presented and taught to the students. Today, it has become a vital ingredient to learning at all educational levels. So education is very important. That's why, in spite of the pandemic that we have faced, we did not stop the education within the different institutions across the globe. However, the challenging thing is that with regards to the results that have been presented, you could see that there is really an impact If an individual would not have these good gadgets with good specifications, with the knowledge of the use of these things, as well as a stable internet connection for an individual to be able to access or to gain an access to the links or the platforms which will be given or which will be utilized as they go along with the online learning. So the implications of the digital divide. So if digital divide would not be addressed, then there will be a hindrance to the development of the underdeveloped areas. Even though many people are now using these gadgets, sometimes it would not be enough, especially if the things being utilized by the students could not hold what are the required details, the required specifications for a certain software or applications. It could also reduce the chance of having a great career. So right now, everybody is expected to be knowledgeable and to be highly competent with the use of this technology. So as a result, students from different backgrounds, geographies, communities may lose their chance to develop innovative solutions if the digital divide would not be addressed. At the same time, there will be a positive impact on countries and the people if the bridge between those in the upper level and the lower level would be greatly addressed, and the students will be able to create a significant difference in the community by learning new ways to tackle the issues. Also, working together to achieve a common goal and thinking creatively to develop solutions to the problems. Now, this is the challenge. How do we bridge the gap of the digital divide? It will be very useful if those people belonging to the lower socioeconomic status would be able to cross their borders. And those in the higher socioeconomic status would also extend their help or extend their assistance in order to fill in the gap with this digital divide. So here are some ways of bridging the digital divide globally. Discover ways to expand information infrastructure, reduce the cost of service for internet access, provide cost-effective and affordable solutions, promote digital literacy via campaigns or incentives, and collaborate with successful entities and robust networking, and offer wireless access in the study halls and library for the entire day. Now, in the Philippine setting, these are the actual scenarios that we could see how people strive to bridge the gap in order to extend their help and assistance to those people who are in places or in areas wherein access to this technology could not be very good. So here you could see a teacher climbs mountain and swims across a river just to deliver learning modules to students. So this is a real scenario that had taken place. That's why it has been pictured, especially in the World Teachers Day before, thanking the teachers who passionately do their jobs in delivering these modules, since we have the synchronous and the asynchronous, as well as we have the blended learning, wherein the modules are given to students, especially for those who really do not have an access to this technology. Also, student resorts to staying at a makeshift tree house for stable internet connection. So since the places, not all the places like what I have mentioned earlier have good spots with regards to the internet connection, they really find a spot, usually in a higher place. That's why we raise our hands when we look for a signal. So same thing with the student. The student opted to study in a tree house just to have a good elevation wherein he could get a strong internet connection, more or less to be stable, and not to be kicked out of the meeting room, especially when online classes are taking place. Another, as you could see here, teachers, parents brace for double workload and having unfamiliar tools. You could see here, these are educational materials, consist of modules, books, notebooks, and other educational things, which has to be delivered to areas wherein they have really a need for assistance and help with regards to the education system. So the teachers here now do not just do the job of teaching or lecturing for their students, but they also consider the use of themselves in order to deliver these materials for the students. Another thing, as you could see here, to secure an internet connection on the first day of school this year, 2020, 2021, several teachers in Batangas City had to climb onto the roof of their school on Monday as the country transitions to the blended learning amid the COVID-19 pandemic. So once again, looking and getting a stable connection by going to higher places, securing an internet connection so that the data will be stable as they deliver their lessons. So it's part of the new normal. So part of the people empowerment, improvement of the digital capacities all over the world would be an effort, not just to be done by those in the education sector, but it will be strongly addressed if there is a support from the private and the public sectors, particularly from the government. So there are projects and plans of the government, like the DICT or the Department of Information and Communications Technologies, wherein they will be deploying broadband capacities across the nation, especially in areas that are remote, inaccessible, and considered unprofitable by the private sector. And with this, the government will have access to cheaper and more reliable internet services that will reduce government spending on internet subscription. Aside from that, some fast food chains, particularly McDonald's, offers free distance learning classrooms, wherein these classrooms were converted, or these function rooms were converted into classrooms. At the same time, there is an internet connection wherein the teachers could utilize as they go along with their online classes. And then here, Globe secures over 700 permits to build cell sites, and this is currently ongoing. And then one of the provinces here, Binyan, launches free Wi-Fi hotspot for public school students. Also, a backup postpaid internet plan in the Philippines. Now, universities partner with private institutions in order to efficiently deliver its blended learning platform, and then local government units donate gadgets like laptops, cell phones, or tablets to students. This is taking place in the different local government units here in the Philippines, wherein initiatives of the mayors or the leaders are taking place. Also, there is a flexible e-learning bus launched in Laguna, wherein these buses are equipped with computers and internet connections, and they are being rotated in municipalities where the students without gadgets and internet connection due to financial limitations could access. Also, the utilization of the TV channels, the DepEd TV channels, wherein the DepEd or the Department of Education partnered with some TV stations in order to show lessons as well as discussions, and that will be viewed by different levels, which is associated or which is accounted for different periods of time. as part of the lectures. And here, a motorbike with sidecar carries TV and other learning materials for IT students in Pampanga. As you could see here, there is the label for different grades, and these are some of the learning materials. There is a globe, there are some books, and this circulates in certain places to reach for the students, particularly for the indigenous group. Okay, so with that, I would like you to know about what Bill Gates have mentioned about the technology. So technology is just a tool in terms of getting the kids working together and motivating them. The teacher is the most important. So with this, let us do our part, not just in trying to educate our children, other students, but also we have to do our part in reaching beyond what we can in order to solve this digital divide. So, terima kasih. Thank you very much. Once again, congratulations to the Universitas Singaperbangsa Karawang for gracing this event. This will be very useful for communicating different scenarios in different countries and also to build a stronger collaboration between different institutions. Thank you very much once again. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Director Joanna. There was actually a very great presentation from you. It really enlightens us and opens our eyes to initiatives that we can actually choose to combat this, no, not to combat the COVID-19, but to actually find ways to still deliver our lessons well. Thank you very much. But before I open opportunities for everybody to ask you, please allow me to summarize what you have elaborated here. So you mentioned something about digital divide. There is actually different accesses to technology, that equality is physical accesses, and of course the imbalances too. Now, the levels of digital divide here include hardware, software, internet, use of technologies of teachers and students, and the empowerment of students. Infrastructure, basic physical organization, structure of facilities. Number one is the speed of internet. This is actually something that we experience in Indonesia. Internet is often very, very slow, right? And then the devices. It is very difficult for our students to have devices like the updated devices. Some of the devices are very old, and then they don't support the recommended specifications. And then the education and dependent computing information security. We know that some useful blogs and some useful sites are very much locked, and so not everyone can access that. And the financial capability, to support such actions, you need financial support. That's actually not something that everyone can choose about. And then the methodology. Here in the discussion, the transformation to the technology breakthrough and that affecting the way things taught to the students. This is because of the technology. It is vital to make learning online. This is actually the most important thing for online learning. And the hindrance to development accesses and reduces the chance of having a goal career. Limitation of accesses to internet will actually reduce the chance for all students of having good career. That is actually something we need to be aware of. Students from different backgrounds may lose the chance to develop career. The positive impact on countries is that students are very much computer literate nowadays. Bridging to the gap is that we have to discover ways to expand, reduce price of the internet. That is actually what the government can play their role in, and then provide cost-effective solution, perhaps with the package data or something for the students. And then the digital literacy and people empowerment in this case, partnership between the government and the private. That was actually something that we can all learn from the case of the Philippines. One more thing, Ms. Jonah, you mentioned something about Department of Information and Communication Technology, and you mentioned something about Gringo Honasan. Was that correct? Is that the General Gregorio Gringo Honasan?
Yes, because
Oh, okay.
right
All right.
now he is in the DICT.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. I remember that name from the past time of the Philippines. Thank you very much. I'm just very curious about that. Thank you. All right, everybody. Now, I will allow two people to question here to gain more knowledge from the explanation, from the elaboration that Ms. Jonah, Director Jonah here has already done. Please do. Oh, we have Ricky Anindya Jati. Yes, please, Rizky Anindya Jati. Rizky Anindya Jati, you raise your hand. Yes, please. Unmute yourself, please. Rizky Anindya Jati, can you hear me well? Okay, we have questions from this. Okay. All right, while waiting for, okay, Rizky Anindya Jati, please do.
Okay, thank you for the time. Actually, I have two questions for the panelists. The first question is, we agree that equality in education is a fundamental right for every citizen. So my question is, how's your government, the Philippine government, facilitate the gap between the higher class and the lower class of people in order to get the equality in education, especially in online learning? And my second question is there a way to effectively evaluate the learning progress during the online learning? Thank you. I think that's my question.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So first, for the first question, how do the government addresses the gap between those in the higher socioeconomic status and the lower socioeconomic status? So as I have mentioned in my discussion earlier, in order to bridge the gap and in order to give assistance to those belonging with those who are economically challenged, the efforts of the government include the following. First, before the start of the classes, the local government units, even the Office of the President and the Office of the Vice President here in the Philippines, have already made some actions in reaching out to these areas through the use of the following or through these efforts. First, the nation are giving of gadgets to the students. So particularly in public universities, they have distributed laptops, they have distributed tablets. So it's not only those gadgets, but they had made use of giving pocket Wi-Fi's, and some even have given some amount for them to buy the load for the pocket Wi-Fi's. So that's one way of addressing it. And also, in other places, the remote places, they tried to put up some cell sites in order to boost internet connection so that for the areas who are having challenges or troubles with the internet divide, this will allow the individuals or this will allow the students to have an access to the education. And so they could still be allowed to utilize the technology in order to join their classes, particularly the online classes. So it's not only the students who were able to get these gadgets, because some gadgets were also distributed to different schools. And these schools distributed these gadgets to the teachers. Okay? The teachers were also given some laptops which could be utilized for their delivery of the lessons during online classes. And also, these teachers were given some trainings like capacity building for them to be comfortable with the use of the learning management system of the different institutions, for them to effectively deliver their lectures or their lessons, even though we had used it online. Okay, so can you please repeat the second question?
The second question is the effective ways to evaluate the implementation of the online learning.
Okay, effective ways of evaluating the online learning. Of course, it will be very different with what we had before into traditional learning, wherein we could really see our students, we could connect with them face to face, we could ask them and they could answer directly. Unlike now, wherein we have this online and offline mode of reaching out with our students. So measures on how could we effectively measure it. Of course, measures would be different from what we had before. We could really expect that there is a difference because we might be thinking that whenever we give examinations or assessments, the students could have the time to browse to other sites wherein they could search for the answers that you have given for the question. Another challenging thing here is they could easily share information from one student to the other, especially if you will just assign the questions and let the students submit it for a period of time. But that's the setting that we have right now. So it would be good to assess them, not only by giving activities which the students could do offline or using the asynchronous wherein you assign topics, they will answer and then they will submit, but also try the synchronous approach wherein you ask questions, the student would really give their feedback real time and be creative enough to devise such activities that could be done synchronously, like the use of Kahoot, the use of other applications like Menti, or a timed question sets given to students and they have to answer it right away. But the challenge here is the strong internet connection between you and your students. So those are some ways on how could we effectively assess it.
Thank you very much. We have one more question. Freshman here, the first semester student. Hi, I'm Vicky. I want to ask a question. Who live in inland or in which they have difficulties to reach the stable connection.
Okay, so for this question, how do we provide a good internet connection?
Yes, that's the question, ma'am.
Yeah, for people who are inland? Okay, so in order to help those individuals or having some challenges with their reaching or getting a stable internet connection, one solution that the government did was the delivery of the modules. So instead of using the gadgets, if internet is really a problem and they couldn't really get an access because they couldn't connect to the internet, the modules would be useful so that the students could study these instructions, these materials, as well as the lectures provided into the modules. On the other side, another solution or another action for this is the boosting of the internet signals by the cell sites, by the establishment of cell sites or building of additional cell sites, and also the provision of pocket Wi-Fis so that these pocket Wi-Fis could have a connection with the established cell sites provided in that particular area. So those are some solutions that is being addressed or that is being utilized in order to address those areas which are having some problems with a stable internet connection.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Director Jonah. I hope that answers your question to Vicky. Thank you very much. Well, everybody, why don't we give Ms. Jonah here a big round of applause for the very great presentation.
Terima kasih.
Thank you very much. Terima kasih, the Director Jonah. Hope you have a very pleasant Monday. Thank you. MC.
Well, good presentation from the presenter. I would like to inform to the all participants, please, you are still staying in our international webinar dissemination. Now, we have the third presentation. It's coming from the Panamela Wallachia University from Thailand, delivered by Abdul Razak. It's also well guided by Mr. Made Panji Teguh. For Mr. Made, are you ready to continue to guide us?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Mr. Grimaldi. Yes.
Many thanks.
Everyone, please allow me to inhale and please allow me to enjoy my coffee a little bit. I need something to kick my adrenaline up again. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
Okay. That's really interesting. A very busy Monday we have all here. Thank you. All right. And what we have, the next one is a presentation. Mr. Abdul Roya or Abdul Razak Panemale from Walalak University. And he has prepared the presentation for us. And the presentation is titled Medicalization and the Islamic Stance on the Issue of Disease. But before, please allow me to somehow introduce, to introduce Mr. Abdul Razak here. Okay. Mr. Abdul Razak or Abdul Roya Panemale. I hope I do not mispronounce your name, sir. Okay. And Mr. Abdul Razak here was born in Narathiwat, Thailand. And was born in 1967. And he really loves reading and writing. His educational background started back in 1990, where he got his Bachelor's of Art in Islamic Studies in Prince of Songkla University in Patani campus. And then he continued to his master's degree, where he obtained his master's degree in Malay literature in the Academy of Malay Studies in University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur in 2004. Now, Mr. Abdul Roya here is affiliated to ASEAN Studies Program, School of Liberal Arts in Walailak University in Tasala, Nakhon Sitamarat, Thailand. Yes, Mr. Abdul Roya, the floor is yours. Thank you. Mr. Abdul Roya, can you hear us? Mr. Abdul Roya?
Yes, I think Mr. Abdul Razak has a slight connectivity problem. Maybe we can wait for several minutes first.
Thank you.
I hope he can connect soon. To all the participants, I wish for your patience. This is one of the. Oh, I think Mr. Abdul Razak is online again. Welcome back, sir. Welcome to the webinar, sir. Can you hear us well? Back to you, Pamada.
Yes. Welcome, Mr. Abdul Razak, please. Can you hear?
Can you hear us well, sir?
Yes, sir. Mr. Abdul Razak? Mr. Abdul Razak, please. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear us? Yes, Mr. Abdul Razak. Hello? Mr. Abdul Razak, can you hear us? Yeah, Mr. Abdul Razak, can you hear us? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, please apologize for the we have been with him, and he has informed us that he has been trying to connect to our network. Mr. Abdul Razak, please indicate, establish the communication. Excuse me, sir, we cannot hear you yet.
Bapak Mada, I think we are still trying to connect with Bapak Abdul Razak. Dr. Yogi. Let me confirm if he's in the panelist and if he's ready to.
Yes, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, Dr. Yogi. Okay. So maybe perhaps we can go with your presentation.
Oh, my presentation first. Okay.
If you don't mind, though. If you don't
Oh,
mind.
okay. Okay. So it's okay. I can go first.
Mr. Abdul Razak, yes. Mr. Abdul Razak,
or maybe we ask one more time.
Okay. Mr. Abdul Razak.
Mr. Abdul Razak.
Yes. Are you? Yes. Mr. Abdul Razak, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Ah, good. Now you have now we have good internet connection here. Thank you very much for Dr. Yogi. Mr. Abdul Razak here is ready. Thank you very much, Pak. All right. Alhamdulillah. Good. Yes, everybody. I would like you to welcome Mr. Abdul Razak from Thailand. Give him a
Thank you very much. So sorry for some technical
Yes.
problems. Okay, can you hear me very well?
Yes, no problem, sir. Yes, the
Okay,
floor
thank
is
you
yours,
very
sir.
much. Okay, I'm so sorry. So I'm sorry for some technical problems. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Unsika as the organizer for inviting me as one of the keynote speakers in this very important webinar. Thank you to all the parties, staff who get involved in these programs. Personally, a few years ago, I visited Ansika. Thank you for the friendly service of the dean and the other staff. And the most memorable was Mr. Widi. And today, Alhamdulillah, it's great pleasure to visit again in online. Hopefully, today's seminar will produce results that we can all benefit from. Apart from that, hopefully there will be cooperation between the scholars who are also involved in this today's program webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure that webinar today there will be many scholars who will present the result of a study that is in line with the theme of webinar this time. However, I would like not present the result of the study on COVID-19, but my talk is more conceptually about medicine and disease prevention according to Islam. This is so that it can be used as reflections on the same disaster or misfortune we are facing nowadays. My talk today can be divided into two sections. The first one, an overview on the COVID-19 epidemic issue. I will briefly describe the result of my own readings and research. And the second one, my talk focus on the Islamic view of disease outbreak and their prevention, with the hope that it can open up a few other dimensions and can further brighten our perception of the hotly debated issue right now. Also, it can at least further complement the corpus of the COVID-19 disease outbreaks. First of all, I want to give you some observations on COVID-19. Please look my first slides on the cover of the novel. Wait a minute. Okay, can you see the cover of the novel, Mr. Mede Santoso?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's a novel from Dean Koontz, classic, The Eyes of the Darkness.
Yeah. Before discussing the topic, I suggest I have a little bit of intention about the COVID-19 that I want to share here. But I do believe many of today's panelists will elaborate on the meanings of COVID-19. So I don't think I need to explain the meaning of COVID scientifically, but I will try to give another picture of what COVID-19 is. Ladies and gentlemen, as an academician, I do not limit my readings to academic books, but also enjoy fiction. I want to let you know all. There is a novel by Dean Koontz entitled The Eye of Darkness, written in the 80th decade, first published in the 1981. The story tells of a mother, Tina Evans, who lost a child, Danny. Danny was taken away by a group of secret conspiracies with the intention of being used as experimental material in military own closed laboratory in the snow-covered forest. In short, Danny fell victim to experiments on the study of viruses by scientists who specialize in biology and biochemistry, as well as bacteriology and virology. What I need to mention here is the virus was later named Wuhan 400. To find out how the story ends, you can read for yourself the contents of this very interesting novel. But what is interesting is that the storylines in this novel touch on the issue of the Cold War between the USA and the Soviet Russia at that time, but now it's just we call Russia. The USA need a kind of viral epidemic to subdue and destroy Soviet Russia. Victory in favor of the USA at last. Although the Cold War between the USA and Russia had ended with the victory in the favor of the giant nation of capitalism and the collapse of the wall of the Russian communism. However, the other, the Kuhns, the Dean Kuhns seem to want to convey that, in fact, the Cold War is not over yet, and the enemy is turning from Russia into China now. To adapt the current context, Dean Koontz, as the writer and author of the novel The Eye of Darkness, also revamps and modifies the contents of the novel to be in line with current trends. If previously the antagonistic character was Soviet Russia, then in the new edition, it was changed into China. And miraculously, the virus was named Wuhan 400. Late overall was made 3 years before the COVID-19 outbreaks. The question is this a coincidence or a conspiracy? Why is this novelist able to fantasize about the use of viruses as a weapon to destroy opponents? In fact, he miraculously predicts that the virus would start spreading in a laboratory based in Wuhan City, People's Republic of China. And it's proven that, according to a media report, the COVID-19 virus began to appear in the city of Wuhan at the end of the 2019. I think all you know about this. Surprisingly, after that, it spread in the USA. The question is, why in the USA? Is it a Chinese response to the USA or not? If it is true, as described by Dean Koontz, then it can be concluded that COVID-19 is a conspiracy of world power with the aim of wanting to control the world by risking inhabitants as victims. And now it's clear that the COVID-19 epidemic has spread to all corners of the world. I give you some information at this time. When this paper was written, information from the COVID-19 Information Center report that global confirmed case, 69,000 more than total, and that's 5x 2 8 to 2 42. This is the number of the death and the case of the COVID. Okay, back to our talking. My talking. Humans are now hunted by COVID-19. Even worse, when it has a negative impacts on the socio-economic system of mankind. Whatever, it is clear now, we are witnessing the whole machinery mobilizing energy to prevent the COVID-19 epidemics. Humans are now in fear and are watching over themselves and their families and communities from being infected with COVID-19. So I think that's all for the meanings. What is the COVID-19? I don't want to give more especially in perspective of academic but I just want to share from my reading from this novel. I think from this novel we can imagine what is the COVID-19 truly. So back to the COVID-19 epidemic and its wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, every event is determined by God. And of course, there is wisdom to all his servants. This is accordance with the nature of God, who is most gracious and merciful. The same is true in this case of the COVID-19 epidemic. Behind this disaster, there are, of course, implicit wisdom for human beings to ponder. In the Islamic tradition, sees the case of the disease as sunnatullah. I mean, the nature of human being. So all can also be interpreted as a test and punishment of God on his servant. In order to make his servant realize the mistakes he made. I repeat again, in order to make his servant realize that the mistake he made. Allah said in the Quran, which means corruption doth appear on land and sea because of the evil which men's hands have done, that he may make them test a part of the which they have done, in order to that they may return. In chapter of Rule, verse 41. In other words, all the misfortune or this disaster that occur are due to the action of human hand. Maksud saya, apa yang berlaku bencana itu adalah sebenarnya dari tangan manusia itu sendiri. So Allah punish them according to what they did. This is so that they can feel the retribution for wrong they have done. This coincide with what God says, whatever of misfortune strikes you, it is what your right hand have earned. Apa yang kita bencana yang menimpa kita adalah sebenarnya apa yang daripada apa yang kita lakukan. In the chapter of Ashura, verse 30. Therefore, if you search for the past stories contained in the Quran, the story of the ancient who was destroyed by the punishment of Allah, it contains many lessons for the wise. It can serve as example to remind us of good and bad deed. God does not oppress mankind except they themselves who go beyond the limit of nature prescribed by God. Therefore, it is appropriate for them to be cursed and punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the context of this discussion, I see that COVID-19 is nothing more than a punishment of God upon the whole of mankind as a result of the sins and iniquities that they have committed on this earth. To realize their cruelty, the sister was sent in the name of COVID-19. Remember, indeed, outbreak of disease are also a type of God's creature. This is as clear as the word of God, which means, and to Allah belong to the servants of the heaven and the earth, in the chapter of Al-Fat, verse 7. Likewise, before this, we have felt disaster in various forms, so that thousands of lives have been lost, both in the form of tsunami, volcanoes, floods, and hurricane. Not a few of our friends' lives were lost. This is all we witnessed with our own eye, how their lives were lost. We are still lucky because it is not our turn. However, it is not impossible if one day it will hit us again. Therefore, what is necessary is that we should take the incident as a lesson and awareness in improving this act of life. The question is, are we aware or not of disaster that befell our neighbor, our village, and our state? Of course, only thinking people who have common sense know how to evaluate an event, and what are lost if we do not know how to evaluate the contents of the lesson. It is very important that we learn from it. Kita perlu ambil pengajaran daripada bencana itu ya. And the prevention, ladies and gentlemen, before I end my talking, I just want to share my conclusion. I would like to end this discussion with report on tragedy of Jason Hargrove, a bus driver in Detroit, USA. He had nothing to do with the COVID-19 outbreaks, but unfortunately, one day the bus he was driving was overtaken by a passenger who was infected with the coronavirus. The passenger cars behind Jason. In Jason's Facebook date March 21, he wrote, "I feel like my human rights are being violated." 11 days later, Jason died in the ICU room of the destroyed hospital. You can see the detail in the National Geographic last month. Last November 2020. From this report, there is one important thing that we need to pay attention together, which is that this problem is not an individual problem, but a collective problem together. We are not able to deal alone, but need to be united. This problem is a network problem and is precisely a social problem, not an individual problem. Islam promotes unity among members and care about social concerns. Therefore, it is not surprising why Islam placed so much emphasis on the question of brotherhood. The role of brotherhood and humanity, which is the core of Islamic teaching. Islam is a religion that emphasizes the harmony of lives among members of society. We need to care for each other, both in the matters of society and matters of faith and oneness. This is most important things, maintaining one's faith and moral so as not to deviate from the path of human nature is considered very important and should not be neglected at all. Like we see our friends of ours drowning, do we want to leave it alone or help it? Only inhuman people are willing to let our friends drown. The same is true in the matter we are discussing. The COVID-19 outbreaks is none other than the work of human beings who live side by side with us. As friends and neighbors, it demands that we advise them to stay away from the evil things that God forbids. We cannot leave it alone as it is a personal matter. Know that if God sends a disaster, God will curse the whole community, not just specific individual. So beware of the punishment of God. So in this sometime we have to rethinking again human rights, the fundamental human right or individualistic, because we are human society. We are the animal of society. We live together, so we have to care another one in the same time. We do not leave them let alone. If we see they did something wrong, we have to give a warning or whatever. So I think that all for my my talk, because I'm so sorry for some problem of the technical. However, I think at least remember that I want to give the last word. A doctor can only treat you, but only God can heal you. This is my Islamic stance on the disease, especially in the COVID-10. So as a ulama, atau guru and kiai, and say that we have to we have to do a lot of istighfar, zikir, praying, and increase the sunat prayer, as well as a lot of alms giving. This is the prevention that Islam suggests all human beings do if we facing with the problem, disaster, and whatever. So that's all. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much, Bapak. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Bapak Abdul Razak from Walalak University in Thailand. Thank you. It was a very great insight seen from the religious background. I apologize for the very limited time that we have here. Thank you very much, everybody. But since we have like very limited time, we should go on to the next session. Yes, back to you, MC. Thank you.
Yeah, as Mr. Mary said, we have to continue our program. Now we are moving in the fourth presentation, and I would like to inform you that please, you are still staying in the international webinar dissemination. Now we have the fourth presentation delivered by MD Ariful Haq, PhD, from City University of Hong Kong, China, will be delivered by the title Pathogenic Transport of SARS-CoV-2 through the aerosol generated from sprinkle application of recycled wastewater. So to explicit the time, Mr. Made.
Very much, everybody. Yes. Excuse me, Bapak Abdul Razak. I think you're still doing. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. You're still sharing the screen. Can you help? Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Settled. Oh. Okay. I would like to begin with the introduction to MD Ariful Haq. Perhaps this is Muhammad Ariful Haq, because we usually in Indonesia we abbreviate Muhammad to M. This one is MD, perhaps Muhammad. That's my guess. So Dr. Ariful Haq here obtained his doctorate degree from School of Energy and Environment in the City University of Hong Kong. He's very much a scholar in waste valorization, biorefinery, fungal bioconversion process, algal biotechnology. And then before gaining he has also another MSc in biotechnology by coursework in Department of Biotechnology, Bangladesh Agriculture University. He began everything, his studies in bachelor's degree in honors in Bangladesh Agriculture University in Mymensingh in Bangladesh in 2002. He is going to deliver his paper here through the aerosol generated from sprinkler application of recycled wastewater. Very interesting. Dr. Hawk, please, the time is yours. Thank you.
Hello. You hear me? Hello. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Hawk.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Thanks everyone, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, I would like to thank the organizer, and I would say my friend Nurja here video. He was actually my friend while I like university in Thailand back in 2010. So since then we know each other, and I came out to Thailand for higher studies, further to Hong Kong for PhD, and I worked some times in Europe and Belgium, and later I did some research and postdoc in the US. So yeah, today I will present some insights about the recycled wastewater and in the application of the recycled wastewater in the sprinkler system. How does it spread the coronavirus into the system in the environment? So welcome to my presentation. Let me share my presentation.
Yes, Dr. Hawk.
Okay, yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, thank you. As you have already introduced me and my presentation, so today I will actually talk about the transportation and transmission of the SARS-CoV-2, which is also known as COVID-19, and it's spreading through the recycled wastewater application in the irrigation system. So, what is the wastewater? The wastewater, it comes from different sources, domestic sources, it could be from the industrial sources, and it also could be from the agricultural system. So all this wastewater, before it goes back to the surface, watershed, we need to recycle before we release it to the watershed to save use for the next. And this wastewater, it has different application after the recycle of this wastewater. We need to do the treatment. There are different sorts of treatment we can do: primary treatment, secondary treatment, and tertiary treatment. Depends on the use of depends on the application. How do you use this recycled water? So for the wastewater treatment, After recycle, we can use it for agricultural irrigation system, landscape, environmental side, and industrial use. And also we can irrigate the forest system. So what are the problems involved with this irrigation recycle water? As you know, this when you do the irrigation into the agricultural crop field with this recycled wastewater, it can create the pathogen it contains if we do not treat it very well. So it can contain different types of viruses. It contains bacteria. It depends on the size and depends on the mood of recycle. Depends on the treatment. So it has the size that we do in the in the treatment wastewater treatment system. As I mentioned earlier, that primary, secondary, and tertiary, and also there is another treatment that's called last stage UV treatment. So depends on the system of the treatment. It could be different types, but in the beginning, it contains lots of coarse material, bigger size, and then smaller size, and then further smaller size. This is actually the smaller particles basically means here concepts of microbes like viruses, bacteria, and fungus. So with this, if we apply into the irrigation system in the agricultural field, it contains this virus and can spread out and destroy the economy and could be hazardous and risk to the public health and to the environment. And it could also outbreak to the system and into the locality, which is proven in many countries. And the recent outbreak that we all know, that outbreak of the coronavirus disease, it is actually an enteric pathogen, enteric viruses, and this one first reported in 2003 through the leakage of purest pipe in Hong Kong, and was reported by a scientist in 2003. As if anybody of you remember the SARS virus in 2003, it was reported. But I didn't mention this one that information here, but it was the first exposed through the leakage of the purest pipe in Hong Kong. So with this coronavirus pandemic situation, we all know from till today, it is the last information I could hear is about 72 million people infected with this coronavirus, and almost the death toll 1.6 million reports from the world related. What are the most and sources of transmission of this virus? So basically, it could transmit it or spread through the fecal oral system. Fecal, it means the human feces, and the oral system. We can while we do the gargling into the domestic water consumption, that is by the gray water, what is called the gray water. So if we do the gargling, or if we use it for washing our system into the domestic consumption, it could spray in this that's called the fecal oral route system, and it could also spread out through the aerosols during the close personal contact, the droplets. When you do the coughing or like sneezing, the droplets that 10 micrometer size, if you close contact in a 1 meter distance, then you could get infected with this coughing from the droplets to the infected person. And it could also spread over to the tourist waters. It has been reported in the US, in the Netherlands, and Sweden, and recently, and it's very recently, as you know, in last November, spread over, started from Wuhan in China, and after this, it's starting spreading all over the world. So it also can spread by the gray water, as I mentioned earlier, by the domestic consumption, and it is reported by another scientist, Oliver et al. And it's actually me and my friend, we just recently reported this, submitted this review to the journal. We worked about that, so you can have a look on that as well. And how the irrigation system can transmit this COV2 virus. The farmers in the developing world, mostly, they are the most vulnerable people, and the unregulated use of this wastewater, if you don't treat very well, like the primary treatment, if you just treat primary treatment, which is a coarse material that filters the coarse material, and sometimes even the secondary treatment, it doesn't save it allows the other infectious pathogen like viruses or other bacteria into the water. And if you do the irrigation, it is easy to get contaminated and easy to get infected through the application of this water who are working in the fields, and especially the farmers and the workers. So once a farmer or the workers infected, he or she could be the agents in the whole system. And this pandemic and the irrigation industry, actually, we should focus the system as the policy. We must ensure the health and safety of this wastewater before we apply into the agricultural system, into the field. That is more important these days because we are all consuming, especially in the developed nations. If you see the fresh market when you go to the supermarket, you can get the fresh vegetables, you can get the fresh everything, and we like salad, the fresh salad and vegetables. We consume it directly raw, and eat like this way. If we irrigate the crop fields like the vegetables, and we are harvesting that vegetables and taking back to the market, and we are consuming as a consumer. And we are not safe at all, and we could be infected, and this could be severe, very severe. This is another, way of getting infection, and could become pandemic through the whole region or the way. So we must make sure the safety of this recycled wastewater before we apply it to the agricultural field. And there's also, we should regulate and we should apply the policy into the wastewater treatment guidelines before, into the whole World Health Organization. They have a policy, and they have a limit scale, which is called log reduction 6 to 7 from the wastewater as recommended earlier. But this is very, very old. In 2050, this is the recent outbreak of this virus in 2019. And this regulation, the number of copies of virus into the wastewater, it was from the whole in 2006, which is very, very old, and it is a pretty huge number. If an area which is impacted severely, and the number could up to 10 power 10, sorry, here as a typo, the number of viral particles could be 10 power 10, which is very, very high. And in the fecal system, and it could go to the water bodies, and that water bodies, if we apply into the agricultural system, can you imagine what could be the outcome of this? So this number is very old, and we should reconsider, and we should modify the guidelines. The World Health Organization is reconsidering the new policy in this regard. So this is another the things that we must consider in this pandemic situation. And the real-time analysis of this virus into the recycled wastewater, we must analyze this in the real-time situation. Okay, this water body contains this mass of virus particles per liter or per amount of water, and that is safe. We must have to make sure these things through the analysis like molecular technology, artificial diagnostic lab, and here we have people are working all over the world, and they're putting lots of attention in this region. So this is a very important thing that we have to consider in the irrigation of the wastewater. And also, we need to upgrade the gray water treatment system. The domestic water that we are currently using, especially I would say here the underdeveloped nation or the developing nations like East Asia, South Asian nations like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, even in fact in Southeast Asian nations, many of them like probably Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, those might consider the untreated or maybe the primary treatment, and then they're using domestic water, which is called the gray water, and it could spread over the virus through the uses in the domestic consumption. So it's very important things that we really put into consideration while we are using in the gray water into the domestic consumption. And in the cropping sector, especially, I mentioned here, other reported that virus eventually in 2008. In the cropping sector, in many developing countries, they are using without treatment, which is really very, very dangerous. And especially in this pandemic situation, this is no longer acceptable. Without treatment, no wastewater should apply into the agricultural system. Even in developed nations, there is a report here in 2010 in Australia, state of Victoria in Australia, they are, bath and shower water, they are considering as a low risk category of irrigation, and which is really very, very dangerous, because if an area like the Victoria state, a lot of people are infected, and they are, when they're using that gray water shower, and they're also for bath in the through the feces or through their infected part, that virus particles are just directly getting into the water bodies, and they are applying that thing into the irrigation, so which is also very dangerous thing, and that is happening in developed nations like in Australia, as reported here, the Department of Health and Human Services in 2020. So another important thing is that COVID-19 patients, as I already mentioned, this gargling water from the gray water, it could also be a very important issue when it goes to the water bodies, especially the infected COVID patients. And this untreated gray water cannot be marked anymore safe into this, post-COVID-19 time. So it is my point here to all of you and to the whole world, everybody here, they're all considering this thing, that this gray water is not safe anymore after this system. So even though we are getting the vaccine soon, AstraZeneca, and then we have Moderna, we have Pfizer, we have different groups from Oxford, they're producing or they're releasing the vaccine. But this vaccine are coming out to the developing nations or under the developing nations like in Asia or in many other countries, they would get access maybe very, very late. But since then, this virus is not stopping it. So in post-COVID-19 cases, this gray water, untreated gray water system, application of this, it is very important to remember that we have to consider to what level we are releasing this gray water to the water bodies again before we use them. So how this SARS-CoV-2 can also be spread through the formation of aerosol in the sprinkler irrigation system. You know, the droplet, when you do the application of the wastewater treated wastewater in the sprinkler system, especially this kind of sprinkler irrigation actually happens in the big countries where they have very vast land and vast land area, and they're very big in agricultural system, which I would say in Australia, in Canada, in the United States, and countries like in India. So this sprinkler irrigation system, when you're applying it, it produces the droplet, it produces the aerosol, and which is the like less than 10 micrometer size, and the virus particle, which is less than 5 micrometer in size, it's called the nuclei, the viral nuclei. It could attach with the droplets of the water and can spread out to the people who are working in that field or to the nearby. Because through the air, if there is a high wind speed, the velocity of the wind is very high, they need to go away even 50 meters or 100 meters. So if the irrigation field or the agricultural field is very close by to a vicinity where people are living, it could be very dangerous to them, the spread of this virus through this aerosol formation from the sprinkler irrigation system. So this point is it is a very new idea that I have been putting into this. I wrote a funding proposal, and this is my idea recently. I've been trying to bring attention for further researching and trying to do this collaboration with some countries. So this is very important thing that the sprinkler irrigation system, the formation of aerosol and the mixing of this virus particle into this aerosol system, and how long does it exist in the air system, and how to what level it could be infectious to the people living nearby. So this is another kind of area that we should focus more and do study. So the take message for my today's lecture, I would say this about the policies and the gray water. We must change the guidelines that was earlier fixed by WHO and other organizations. We must change that after the post-COVID-19 system. And then secondly, the recycled water receiving secondary or less treatment must consider not safe anymore, and we must consider to what level we are trying to release this gray water into the water shade or water bodies further using or to the application into the agricultural system. And we must promote the efficient micro irrigation technology instead of sprinkler irrigation system that the FDI, that's for subsurface irrigation, which is not dangerous. It cannot produce the aerosol into the air system, so less risk and more safe. We should consider that things, and it should be an idea that can stop releasing the viral nuclei to the air into the air. Another thing, wastewater industry must consider about the log reduction scale, that is, which is before 6 or 7 log reduction scale, which we must reconsider to be even lower than that because of this pandemic. And the methods that create there also, like sprinkler operate. I mean, we should consider people at least not within 15 meters the sprinkler irrigation system method. We must consider that people are not living within the 15 meters vicinity. Or we should change the irrigation system in that case. So these are all about my speech today as a keynote speaker, and I'm very, I feel very honored to all of you, and thank you very much for your attention. Please, if you have any questions, stay safe, please. Hello.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arif Idham. Yes, it was a very interesting topic to discuss. Something relatively new, perhaps, to most of us. Yes, about the wastewater and its potential.
Hello. Hello, I lost you.
Let me try to summarize what Dr. Ariful Haq has just finished mentioning here. Number one, cross-border outbreaks are caused by consumption of agricultural products irrigated with water. That is actually something very shocking to me. Wastewater. Well, this might really make sense because the COVID-19 virus travels by droplets, and water coming out from sprinklers, the aerosol, which contain water, and that can be like the place where the virus can hide. And then the farmers in developing countries are vulnerable due to weak regulation of wastewater. And there are possible implications of contagious infections transmitted through water, because evidence has been found in human waste that really shows viral particles. And updating guidelines from gray water treatment and use it is possible the possible spread of coronavirus due to low wastewater treatment. Infectious aerosol from wastewater could potentially carry viral particles. Messages we can learn from this is that stricter wastewater treatment, including including ways to operate sprinklers in order to protect human being, is very much are very much needed. That's it. Thank you. Now, I have seen some people raising their hands here. Dr. Ariful Haq, can you? Okay, right. Okay, can we? Okay. All right. Who has raised their hands here? We have some people raising their hands here, and that is Dewi Setiawan. Yes, Dewi Setiawan, please. You may ask Dr. Ariful Haq here. Dewi, are you listening? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm listening.
Dewi Setiawan? Okay. Dewi Setiawan? No? Okay, I don't think she hears us. And if this question comes from a very, what we call, not well-informed individual, it's me. How close are we to the threat of wastewater viral disease transmission? How close are we to that point? Are we very close? I mean, it's just a matter of time, because I have never really heard about the transmission caused by the wastewater. But according to your studies or your research, how close? How would you really predict, or how would you really see that happening?
Sorry, actually, I'm sorry, say that, please.
Can hear me? Okay, you said something about the possibility of disease transmission through sprinkler water. How close are we to that? How close are we to seeing that happening?
Okay, so this is actually, thank you for your question. So as I mentioned in the last point, that within 15 meters is the vicinity that people living in within 15 meters, and also it depends on environmental factors like the viability of the virus into the temperatures and other like pressure, the environment. It's a lot of factors that it may not be infectious, but it is recommended that within 15 meters, when you do the sprinkler irrigation, it is forming aerosol, and it could, if the wind velocity is very high, then it means it is spreading from the nozzle of the sprinkler, the pipe. It should spread over like until 15 meters. It can pass over, and perhaps it could actively containing the viable virus that could be infectious to the people living in that 15 meters area. So we need to do that study. I mean, it is and we are doing some.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. But what I meant was actually, how close are we in terms from seeing that happening? Has there been any case? Have there been any cases relating to sprinkler infected or transmission of COVID-19? Have there been any cases?
No, we haven't found any reported or found any study on that, but we are just it is our new study that we are focusing on that it could be a way to transmit.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we are facing the possible threats of the new way of virus transmission. Thank you very much, Dr. Ariful Haq. That was really enlightening. Thank you very much. Everybody, let's give a big round of applause for Dr. Muhammad Ariful Haq. Thank you very much, Doctor. Back to you, Mr. Naldi, please.
All right, four presenters have already delivered their material. So now we have the last material name for the invited speaker before we are going to take a break. So we have the Dr. Yogitri Prasetyo from Mapua University, Philippines, by the title of the research, Factors Affecting Perspective Effectiveness of COVID-19 Prevention Measure Among Filipinos During Enhanced Community Quarantine in Luzon, Philippines, Integrating Protection Motivation Theory and Extended Theory of Vaccination. For Mr. Made Panjitagu, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Dr. Yogi from Mapua University. Thank you very much. And I'm not sure about your nationality, but your name is very much Indonesian. I think you are Indonesian. Yeah.
Really? You think so?
Yes, I think so. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I'm
Thank
wearing
you very
batik,
much.
Pak. So, of course. Okay.
Yeah. You look very young too. That really comes to me to a question like, what was I doing when I was your age, right? That's really good. Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, the floor is yours, Doctor. Please.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Made. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi for everyone. So thank you so much for inviting me to this webinar. So yeah, I'm so happy basically that I'm being invited by Pak Winarno. Basically that two of us were classmates during our PhD. So yeah, basically that he invited me and I was like, oh, why not? Basically that I can share one of my recent publications in SCI journal, and the title is actually very easy and very, I would say that it's very simple. It's actually factors affecting perceived effectiveness of COVID-19 prevention measures among Filipinos during enhanced community quarantine in Luzon, Philippines. Okay, I would like to integrate two theories. It's actually protection motivation theory and extended theory of land behavior. And I'm Dr. Yogi, and I'm from School of Industrial Engineering and Engineering Management, Mapua University. Okay, so let me introduce myself first because Pak Made like quite suspicious. Who am I? So yes, Pak. Basically that I'm Indonesian, Pak. So yeah. And Pak Made is kind of, oh, so young you are. I'm like, yeah. Basically, I'm batch 2009 for my bachelor. So I got my PhD when I was 27. So now I'm currently an associate professor. Actually, before graduation, I got invited to work in the Philippines because the dean is actually my classmate too during the PhD program. So basically, like yeah, since then, I'm in Manila in the Philippines, and my research expertise is actually human factors and ergonomics. Okay, it's a small branch of the industrial engineering. So my bachelor is industrial engineering, and my specialty is actually human factors and ergonomics. And today I'm going to talk one of my publication is actually this one is actually about the COVID-19. Okay. Basically, yeah, one of my research interests is actually applied structural equation modeling. So it's related to this one. So this is actually the publication you can find in the Science Direct. So yeah, so this is the title, and I published in the International Journal of Infectious Disease, and it's actually October. It's actually being indexed in the during October, 3 months ago, and then this study is one of the first studies that it really integrate the I would say that analyze the perceived effectiveness of the prevention measures. And I would like to mention that this study actually being funded by the Mapua University Drive, okay, for research innovation and value enhancement for funding, okay, for this study. You can it's an open access journal, but this is SCI journal. You can download it for free in the Science Direct if you would like to read in the full, I would say a full version, okay. And actually, this study It's very, I would say that it's being done by my undergraduate students. 3 months only, actually, for that one. So we worked so hard to publish this publication, and like we did not sleep for 3 months basically. So they, you know, 4 of them are undergraduate students from industrial engineering, but they graduated already. So 3 actually from the industrial engineering, and 1 is actually from the service engineering management. Okay, so basically this is the result of the undergraduate. So I believe if undergraduate students can publish Q1 STI journal, I believe like everyone can also do that, right? So I challenge everyone to publish this, you know, to publish in a very, you know, good journal. Okay, so this is my agenda of my presentation, starting from introduction and then methodology, results discussion, then I go to the conclusions. Okay, I'm not going to talk about COVID-19 in general, everybody knows about it, but I'm going to talk about COVID-19 in the Philippines, okay? So everybody knows that, you know, Philippines is actually like the, you know, the world's longest and strictest COVID-19 lockdown during that time, okay? You know, if you're in the Philippines, you know, every like, you know, every intersections, like they have the military guy who will check, you know, where you will go. So it's actually, it was so strict, you know, during that time, okay? And we call it actually enhanced community quarantine, ECQ. So this is the name, actually ECQ. But ECQ, you know, for most Indonesian, perhaps you know that this is actually a lockdown, you know, same with lockdown actually, okay? And it was so strict, and then, yeah, one of the longest in the world. And this is actually, I would like to mention about what is ECQ, what is MECQ, what is GCQ, okay? So ECQ is the strictest one. You can see in here like the difference, okay? The differences between the ECQ and modified ECQ is quite in the middle part, but now we are actually in the GCQ, it's like more general, okay? General community quarantine, because, well, the economic is actually, well, cut, you know, severely hit by the COVID-19. So the government decided to really, well, reopening, you know, the Philippines, especially like, you know, not that strict. Okay, so we kind of like doing in GCQ right now. But my study, the one that we published, it's actually during the ECQ. So it was so difficult during that time, and then like, but we could manage it to publish that publication. So my publication is actually, I did it in May, actually that one, but we actually published it in the end of July. And then because of the reviewing process, you know, like the publication process. And actually that time, you know, Philippines was the highest for the in the Southeast Asia for the active case in Southeast Asia. So it's actually the highest. But now, of course, it's Indonesia. You know, Indonesia is so, I'm like, you know, it's like a rocket, you know, right now it's so high. I mean, like, but that time, this is kind of like, you know, F1 racing, right? You know, like Indonesia becomes so, you know, that time, okay, the total of the, I would say, yes, the total case that time Indonesia was the highest. Okay, this is July 17, actually the one in my publication. But the active case, you know, that time actually Philippines was the highest in July. Okay, I mean in July. So, but now it's you know, it's not like this one. I mean the situation is quite changing. So that's the, I would say, the difficulty doing the COVID-19. Recently, I've submitted so many several papers to journals, and you know the number is actually keep changing. So actually, I have to keep updating my you know, before submitting to the journal. So my research gap is very simple, actually, that, you know, despite the availability of many studies in different countries, that time, I would say in May, okay, there was a significant lack of academic research addressing COVID-19 in the Philippines, okay, that time. But now there are more and more studies, especially done by the UP Manila, for example, that it's a medical school, very famous medical school, like Universitas Indonesia, like that. You know, they publish a lot of papers with COVID-19 in the Philippines. So, you know, despite that they, you know, we did the strictest, how we say that, the lockdown, you know, one of the strictest in the world. You know, we still had the highest case in Southeast Asia that time. Okay, so that time. So basically, this is the one that I stated in my paper. So what is the purpose of my study? It's very simple, actually. It's actually to evaluate factors affecting the perceived effectiveness. Okay, I'm not mentioning about the effectiveness itself. I'm measuring the perceived effectiveness. So it's actually more about the psychological, actually. Okay, in the Philippines, okay, among Filipinos during ECQ or during the lockdown, okay, in the Luzon, Philippines, by integrating two theories, it's actually protection motivation theory and extended theory of land behavior. So this is the methodology, okay? So basically we integrate two theories. The first one is actually protection motivation theory. When you're afraid with something, then it will lead you to certain behavior. For example, when you're afraid with the tsunami, like in Karawang, it's like, it's quite, perhaps, that people in Karawang should aware with the tsunami or like aware with the volcano and so on. So that's why, because you're afraid, then it kind of like affect your behavior. So the next one, I utilize the theory of planned behavior. It's very common. I think there are so many professors in here from management, from the psychology, or even from industrial engineering. We actually quite know what is theory of planned behavior. So this is one of the most well-known theories. Okay. So let me go to the next one. This is actually my conceptual framework. So I integrated two theories. Okay, because that time some studies is actually just only utilize one theory, but in here I utilize two different theories. It's actually these two latent variables belongs to the protection motivation theory, and the rest of these 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, in here is actually the extended of the theory of planned behavior. And of course, everything starts with the understanding of COVID-19. When you understand, you feel afraid. When you feel afraid, it actually goes to your certain behavior. Okay, so basically the very simple concept actually. So we collected the data only 4 days, but in the Philippines, it's kind of like Facebook country. So my students did not sleep for 4 days. We gathered 649 respondents aged from 15 to 75, okay? And they answer basically 63 questions that we developed. And those 63 questions are basically under the protection motivation theory and extended theory of planned behavior. Okay, and among 649, 57% is actually female and 43% is actually male. Okay, and this is actually the demographic. Okay, so basically we gather this one, and most of the respondents 15 to 24, but we can gather up to like 75, actually the highest. And this is the income, and then this is the some of them like PhD graduate, and then like the final one is actually quite interesting, actually, like 600 it's actually 280. They're not enrolled in any kind of insurance. So I mean that's quite shocking for me, actually. And 669 they actually quite enrolled in insurance, including the Philippines health insurance. Okay, or field health, or in Indonesia we call it what is that? BPJS, right? Because I left Indonesia for so many years, sometimes I forget what's the term in Indonesian. Okay. So I utilize the self-administered questionnaire. Okay, this is consists of 63 questions, and there are 10 parts that they have to answer. Okay, I forced them to answer all of that. Okay, and I utilize the 5-point Likert scale. Okay, so if they don't mention that one, they cannot go to the next. I use just a Google form. So basically, I force the respondents. Okay, basically like that, and it takes perhaps less than 10 minutes to answer that one. So this is all the latent variables, okay, like understanding of COVID-19, perceived vulnerability, perceived severity, because these two are from protection motivation theory. And this are the indicators or the measures. Well, you can read the paper in Science Direct quite, it's very clear actually that in Science Direct, and I have the supporting references, okay, in here. And this is the next one. This is the attitude, subjective norm, perceived behavioral control, and then this is the rest of the indicators. And this is another latent variables that this is the extended of the theory of planned behavior. Yes, extended theory of planned behavior. Because of the theory of planned behavior, the final one is just intention to follow. But I go to actual behavior, adapted behavior. Okay. For instance, like always dispose face mask, always use sanitizer and so on. So basically, this is I modified the theory of planned behavior in the case of the COVID-19. Basically, it's just as simple as that. And the final one, my final goal is actually, I would like to predict the perceived effectiveness. So it's actually measured by, being measured by these 7 indicators, okay? The same, like a Likert scale 1 to 5, okay? So basically, I would like to, this is the final of the endogenous variable. Well, I use Amos 24, okay? So from the Excel, transpose to SPSS, then, this is just a very basic, I think everybody knows that one. Okay, it's already 40 minutes. Let's go to the results and discussion. Hopefully I can, have the Q&A. I really would like to, do the Q&A with some of the audiences. Hopefully in, 1 minute I can, 2 minutes I can finish this one. So yes, the result is actually very clear in here that the SEM, indicated that understanding of COVID-19, this one, it led to the perceived vulnerability and the perceived severity. So when you know about COVID-19, when the more you know about COVID-19, you know that how severe it is and how vulnerable you are, when you go to the COVID-19, okay? But when you feel vulnerable and when you feel afraid, that it will change your subjective norms, perceived behavior control, and also the attitude, okay? Especially for related with the health, okay? My indicators is quite clear actually that it's about the health. So you can check that it's actually, the factor loading is quite good. I'm not going to show in here because it's 63, how can I draw it? It's too difficult, but you can check in a table in my in Science Direct, okay? And then the final one, it goes to your intention to follow in here. I mean, intention to follow the healthy behavior. Then when you feel, when you follow that, then you feel that you go to the adapted behavior and actual behavior. Then eventually it goes to the perceived effectiveness. Then you will feel like, oh, okay, I feel that it's quite effective, for the prevention measures. Okay, so basically that this is the logic. Okay, but one very interesting thing that I would like to mention to everyone is actually here to here. So what it means, this is indirect, right? Very indirect. So when you educate people about COVID-19, actually it will lead to your perceived effectiveness. So what does that mean? So you have to educate people and more people. You have to, sometimes like when I read the news, like about the, some kind of ulama and some kind of like, become a viral, in here. I think they should be, be educated about how severe about COVID-19. I think they will, sorry, a little bit more about politics, but, I'm kind of like, following the news. Anyway, the model fit, it was quite moderate. Okay, this is very complicated model. So I got a GFI 0.84 and AGFI 0.82 was quite, I would say it's quite satisfactory. I mean, it's okay for me, but I did not fit the data. So basically that's the maximum that I can get from my model. Okay, but the IFI, TLI, CFI, and then actually higher than 0.9. So basically it's quite okay, the model. This is actually the surprising thing that I would like to mention, that, when you educate more people, actually that it can lead to your perceived effectiveness. So I hope that more and more people, or like we should educate people, or we should punish the one that you don't wear the face mask like in the public space with some kind of like you have to trigger them how severe and how vulnerable you are when you know more about COVID-19, because when you know, it subsequently lead to your perceived effectiveness, basically indirectly. Okay, so my conclusion is very simple. Okay, the first one is like when you know about COVID-19, it will have a significant effect to the perceived vulnerability and perceived severity. When you feel it's vulnerable and you feel it's severe, then it actually leads to your intention to follow. And intention to follow, it has a significant effect to the adaptive behavior, actual behavior. Then subsequently, it led to the perceived effectiveness. And the one that I like to highlight, it's very interesting. Actually, the understanding of COVID-19 had a significant effect on perceived effectiveness, but this one is actually indirect. You can check in my table. I forget which table. It's very clear that the beta is actually quite high. Okay. And the PMT and TPB is actually can be applied and extended, for other countries. So if one of the audiences in here would like to do this kind of study, you can expand. But don't forget to sign the paper. Okay, thank you. I will actually be promotion. Okay. Anyway, this is the limitations of my study. That I actually mainly focuses on the perceived effectiveness rather than the effectiveness itself. So perhaps future research can correlate the effectiveness with the prevention, but I don't know. It's quite difficult how to do it. I don't know how to do it. So perhaps some people in here can do that. And perhaps with not online questionnaire, perhaps you can get a better. I would say that results. But I think my result was quite okay. But if you can get more and more samples, perhaps 1,000. Some studies in China, they collected like 4,000, the same, they also utilize structural equation modeling, and the model fit was actually quite even higher than mine. So actually that perhaps you can utilize this one. And I did not correlate the power of media, but I think after publishing this one, there was one study that actually correlate using the same with the structural equation modeling, that the power of media is actually quite good for, transmitting the understanding of the COVID-19. So basically, that's all for my presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any questions that from
Thank
the
you
audience?
very much, Dr. Yogi, for your presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Yogi. Presentation really reminds me of an American inventor. The name is Professor John T. Thompson. He invented Tommy gun. Blah 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 blah. But that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Let me allow. Okay, please allow me. Let me try to brief or to summarize your presentation. Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, the one is that you use perceived effectiveness and then the theory, the protection motivation theory, and the theory of plant behavior for your research here. Helped by 4 students, you're very much what we call helped by the understanding of the Philippine people of the internet and the social media, and that is actually very good. You gain all the data in only 4 days, Doctor. Only 4 days, right? And that's actually really nice. And then
yes, 4 days only.
Yeah, yes, and you have actually like taken your undergraduate student to publish in Q1. That is really amazing, right? Hopefully, sooner or later, we'll be just like that. Okay, and then we have, just to show my difficulties in understanding, but you can actually, like, you have your structural equation model, and this has involved like lots of variables and to analyze everything. And then something that you need everybody to understand is that the limitations of your result of your research is that the study is mainly focused on the perceived effectiveness rather than measuring the effectiveness of prevention of measures themselves.
Yes, actually, it's more about
to the understanding of COVID. Brilliant findings. Thank you very much. Yes, I would. Yeah, Doctor.
Again, I didn't hear the question completely. Okay. Can Pak Made repeat again? I could not hear. Yes. I cannot hear the complete sentence. Or Mbak Fardia, can you repeat the question again? I did not hear that. I cannot hear that.
Pak Yogi.
Yes. The question.
I think Pak Made was just starting to ask if there is any question.
Oh.
But I can see that he got lost. We experienced a slight connection problem also here now. So I guess just to cover a bit while waiting for Mother to join a bit, we are waiting to see if there is any question. Mother, are you back? Not yet.
I got one comment from from Hairudin. Okay, thank you very much.
Here. Has anyone raised their hands here? Okay.
Or Pak Made, do you have any
Mr.
questions?
Yeah.
Pak Yogi, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here, but I cannot hear the questions. I cannot hear the
I
questions
think we
really.
lost Pak Mada again. I suppose because the time is constrained also, and there is no, and don't worry, Pak Yogi, I think Pak Mada will contact you because he was like asking us here, like, I have so many questions actually for Pak Yogi.
Oh, okay.
Because time is constrained.
You too? You too? You have
Maybe
questions
personally
too?
later.
Personally later? Okay.
Yeah, personally later. We'll come
Okay.
to you with questions.
Okay, welcome. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, Pak Mada, back to you.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much. I'm very sorry for this technical problem. Yes. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for the very enlightening share of your thoughts here, and we really appreciate them. Thanking you, definitely. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Dr. Yogi and your team. Please say, present my right. Thank you very much. Okay, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, all 5 invited speakers already delivered the material. So now we are going to take a break. It's time to take a break for all. And I would like to inform that the Zoom is getting close, and also all participants can join in the 1320 to rejoin about the virtual meeting. Thank you very much for your kind attention. And then after break, we have the 4th presenter from Unsika. They are Dr. Slamet Soleh MSc, Samsul Huda SPD MSI, MH, and also Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, SPD MPD. So please stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Please back again after we break time. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you again, everyone, for participating here. During the break time, we will close the Zoom room. You are free to join again later in the time schedule mentioned by our MC. We'll see you later in the afternoon. Thank you so much.